You just can't. Nobody can talk. Oh yeah, this thing's happening, and we all need to figure out what the impact is. So it's a slow burn. Everyone kind of came to the same conclusion. Like most of the world came to the same conclusion about what the impact of these policies would be long term. It was like, oh, U.S. recession. So we know it's coming. Largely priced in, I would suggest. You know, or GDP is holding up. Feel about this. Yeah. I'm using all of the metrics that I used in 2014, 15, 2017, 18, 19, right when these growth scares appeared. Because I just want to be intellectually consistent. If I said it was not a recession under Obama, it was not a recession under Trump, it was not a recession under Biden, we have to look through the same lens so that we're not just playing politics here.
What's going on? Someday I'm gonna figure out this Zoom stuff. My gosh. So this time now, it's making me admit every one of you. So I have to sit here and keep clicking admit for every single person that joins.
I'm monitoring that, Brooks. I gotcha.
Oh my gosh. All right. If you have a camera, turn it on. Come on, let's see you. Robert, what's happening?
Hey, bud.
Mike's driving? Oh no. Maybe we don't want to watch this car crash happen. All right, 2 o'clock. We'll give everybody like just a minute here to get going, and we'll jump right in. It's going to keep beeping at us the entire time. My people. All right, Rob, you got all the joining.
Yeah, I think, and I just disabled the waiting room, so I'm hopefully
I
everybody.
tried that too already, and it kept doing it. So we'll figure it out next time. Maybe because it's already started now, they can't turn it off. Well, we got 31 of 70, almost 80 that signed up. So hopefully others will be joining soon. Thanks you guys for all who are here again. This will be our first training for Smackdab. We're playing it by ear, so we're winging this. I got a little PowerPoint, and we're gonna go through that. I'll bring Smackdab up on the screen, talk through it, and then you guys will be able to unmute and ask questions and try to have fun with this. When you're not talking, please.
Go. Brooks, I muted you. I didn't mean to.
Can't mute me.
I just tried to mute all. I didn't think it would mute you. I'm sorry.
It's all good. It's all good. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and just get started. So I'm gonna share my screen.
Hey, Brooks, are you going to be distributing this afterward on a
Yeah,
video
I will. We're recording this just like I did before. I'll have to
the
splice it
whole
together
time?
because it doesn't
So,
record the screen and me. So I'll splice it together like I did on the last video and put it up on YouTube. All right, share. I'll share the whole screen because I don't know where it's what. All right, here we go. All right, so we've got, this is going to keep beeping at me. I might mute. I'm going to mute this, Rob, just so I don't keep hearing beeping as I'm talking for a little bit. Uh, okay, my computer's muted. I assume you can hear me, right? Okay, I'll bring the audio back on in a little bit once everybody's joined in. It stops beeping at me. Okay, here we go. Thank you all for being here. Let's get going. We're a few minutes late. Sorry as we figure this out. We will get smoother at this. I promise you as we get going. Okay. Uh, Everything you need all in one place. That's one of our taglines. We are working on. The other one is make work fun. Would love to get feedback on any of those. So our first training, a little housekeeping. Please mute yourselves, which we've done that. Cameras on if you have them. Right now, I've got the PowerPoint up behind me. Next time, I'm probably going to have you guys up on this screen. We're going to do the grid so everybody can see each other here. I want this to definitely be community driven. I want you all to be involved. So next time, come with the camera on, and we're going to put you all up on here so we have everybody who's attending up here. We are going to do an overview of the account setup. This is going to be the basic terms, understanding how we structure the back end, meaning users and accounts and permissions, that kind of stuff. Then we're going to look at a little bit the iPoint sync, and then based on time, we'll get into Q&A and just kind of play it by ear from there. Terms, account owner. So there is the account is what you sign up for iPoint. So we'll reference your account when you sign up. There is only one account owner. We have just finished the ability to transfer account owners. So some of you have like 3 or 4 accounts because everybody in your company went and signed up. They each have their own account. As we get going, we can clean that up from the back end. So if we have that problem, I'll be identifying those in the next couple of weeks. I'll look for that where that's happened and reach out and we'll get those cleaned up. Now moving forward, when somebody signs up with your domain, it catches it and says, hey, Robert's already got an account, under this domain. Do you want to just join that one? And then it will send you as the admin, it'll say, hey, Brooks wants to join your organization. Is that okay? So that's been fixed. Branches. So what we're calling a branch is you could think of it as if you were a larger company and you had multiple stores or even multiple companies, even if they were in the same place, but they operated independently. That's a branch. So Smackdab is built to be at enterprise level. So it's made for mass distribution, meaning I can handle 1,000 stores under one account. And we can aggregate reporting from all of those various locations. But when you're in the branch, you only see your branch. You don't get data from the other branches. So most of you, you're only going to have one branch. But if you ever scale out, we have the ability to handle multiple different branches within the same account. Permissions, we have 2 layers of permissions, and I'm going to show you all this in just a second. Permissions, we have basic permissions and advanced. So that's based on the plan you're on. The Kickstarter plan, which is the free one that comes with iPoint, that's basic permissions. It's like, are you an admin or a user? If you want to have that really granular control and you want to get into the hierarchy-based permission sets, which I'm going to show you, that's on the Momentum and Up. Users, licensing is on the users. Smackdab, when we get into the org chart, we have positions when you create your org, and you can have as many positions on the org chart as you want, and any one user can belong to multiple positions. And that's like, I am a sales manager and I also own the company, right? So you could be the top level boss and at the same time function as a salesperson. And the reason that's cool is you can switch between those. And when you hire a salesperson, you just sub out your salesperson in that position and they take over all those accounts you were working if that's what you want. And if you're larger scale, that applies. Somebody gets let go or quits, you just hire a new person, stick them right back in that same position. They automatically inherit all the work that was already underway by the other person. Teams, we do have teams, and you are going to have team ownership. So if you, especially when we get into the support module, that's where a team can share the load and actually own records. All right. So I'm gonna. Is it safe to unmute my computer, Rob? Okay. There we go. So I want to bounce out of here and I want to get into Smackdab and look at what this means. So the first thing you'll note is if you click on, if you're the owner, you're the top level admin, when you click on your profile icon, it says administrator right here. What that's going to do is actually open up a whole new top level admin site. We're also allow you to have a billing only user, which is a non-billed user, so we don't charge for the billing user, and that's somebody who basically can get in here and manage the billing without being a quote user of the software. So this is the top level. I'm going to remute because this is still going off like crazy. Uh, the the top level lets you get into the top branches, and this is where I can like add my branches. So if you do have a situation where you want to have multiple different branches, this is where you go and you add them, and it walks you through this setup of a branch. And just know that each branch is completely like siloed from the others. But your users can be the same user between branches. So iPoint didn't have a mechanism for that. So if we set you up, and I have a number of you that have multiple iPoint files, where it's a whole nother file, we have to do licensing all independently. There's no like shared licensing between them. SmackDab's not that way. SmackDab, you have one license at the branch level. That user can work for any of the branches and move between them, and it's just one user license as far as we're concerned. The other thing that's cool on the branches is you can enable branch billing, which means the branch pays its own licensing. Um, but any user who bounces between branches is billed at the account level. So it's very flexible. I'm going to cancel out of here. Policy groups, we don't need to do that here. This is the hierarchy, and this is massive because this has like our dev team in here. But at this high level, basically it lets me see this is the account level, and it goes down here to these different, there's a branch test here, more branches, and you go down, you can see the permission sets, administrator and user, and then below there you start going into your position. So the entire system is really controlled in the back end from this org chart. Security Center, so we have session management. You can hop in and see everybody that's logged in actively, all your audit logs. So this is part of the Security Center is included, and part of it is only for advanced plans if you really want the granular security controls. And then company info and billing. And billing's coming soon because it's still free for everybody because we haven't finished it to where we want to charge for it yet. Okay, so this is the billing, the administrative panel here. I'm going to just click back over here, and I'm back in normal Smackdab. So talking about our terms, here's our branch settings. So when you get in here, that's why this says branch and branch settings. So if you just set up an account, you don't have to even understand what this is, except for the fact that this says branch. You might go, why does it say branch? We're probably going to change this to just say company settings because we have gotten some confusion around why does it say branch? And now you all know why it says branch. And there's all the branch settings that are independent. Okay, so we talked about branch user accounts. So getting into user accounts. Let me make sure I'm keeping on my slide over here. Branch permissions. Okay, let's do permissions. Administration, and then you've got your policy group. So this is permissions. So when you sign up for the account, right now you get by default this user permission set, which what we called 9 permission sets. Here it's called policy groups. Same thing. User, and you can click on it and you can see it. It's just all grayed out. You can't modify it. These are just hard-coded permission policy groups. And when you create a new user, if I went to new user and I said new user, and we said this is Billy Bob at Billy at Bob It's warning me because that's not my company domain. So that's just a warning. And then it's saying, do you want to create a new position? You could either say yes and create a new one, or you can say no, and it'll load any open positions that you have available. In this case, I'm going to say yes. This is Billy's sales. And it says, what's the parent block? The parent block is just the permission. It's the policy group. So earlier I showed you the hierarchy, and we're going to loop back around to that. But if you don't have a more advanced like momentum plan, you don't get into that at all. So you're just going to choose administrator or user, whatever this user is. If you have the momentum plan and you're on the more advanced where you can get into the hierarchy, you can create as many of those advanced permissions as you want and get really granular. But that's what you're choosing here is what policy are we running this person under. I'm going to hit cancel because we don't need them in here. Then we've got the positions. So let's get into hierarchy. So in the hierarchy chart, this is a new branch. It just has me in here right now. This is how it comes initialized. We have the branch up here at the top. It owns everything. Then you go down to your permission sets. So administration and user. I'm living under the admin permission set with my default position. When you add a user, if you stick them under the user set, they're over here. This is nothing more than basically a permission set. These are literally called permission blocks to us. So you can also add a user from right here. So if you want to go in here, you can say add a position. This is going to be Billy's, Bob again. So now we're going to have a new permission, a new position block here, and we can say assign a user, and then just click new user, and it's the same fields as before. Just their first name, last name, email, save an invite. So you can do it from either side based on where you want to work from. This then can get really advanced. So users can be assigned to more than one position. So what that means is I'm the current user. I'm the only user right now, but I can certainly be assigned to both blocks. And you can insert users at the top. You can insert users in, positions anywhere and assign users. So this is where you can create your org chart. And I've seen some of you have gotten in here and done some really nice jobs of creating your org charts. We're going to continue to add more functionality to this system. Right now, it's really just geared for what's your permission set, your policy group, and who's it assigned to with the description. We're going to be adding in skill sets. We're going to be adding in reports too. We're going to be putting some cool stuff in here. What this is for, and if you can think ahead a little bit as we start to get all the other records from my point, this creates a platform for reporting where I can put in, and I'm going to flip on advanced mode so that I get all my functionality. And I'm going to add in here a new department. So this department could be our sales department. I am a horrible typer. Sorry. Sales department. So that's going to get inserted. And then you can do sub departments under that. You can also, while that's saving, go over here to the hierarchy here. So again, we've moved up to the top level. And it's hanging. So I've uncovered a quirk that it's getting locked up while it's saving this. And this is how we report bugs. Get to see how the sausage is made. Well, we'll cancel out of that. I'm going to reload. Live TV is great. Switching gears to a different platform, different account. Back to settings, back into administration hierarchy. This is my big one, so we're just going to use that. Permissions. I wanted to show you the inserting a department. That one worked just fine. So here's the test department, and then we can start creating sub-departments, teams, positions underneath that there. Sorry, it's really small. So these departments allow you to then put your service department, your sales department, and you're creating this structure so that when it comes time to do our analytics engine, which is still getting worked on, you'll be able to run reports by these hierarchy blocks. So as you structure things, you can then pull data by that. So that's going to be really powerful in the future when we get to the analytics. Movement of personnel. I talked about that, how you can switch people around. We talked about all this. The advanced versus that's just whether you want more blocks or not. You don't need to turn on advanced if you're not doing like a full org chart. It's just adds more options, adds more permission controls. Um, so the last thing about permissions, if I insert a permission block like this, what we've done here is set a permission that says remove Zoom. So when I have a permission block and I click on the little permission icon, it opens up this block where I can choose from an existing policy group or I create a custom policy group. And what's cool and what's important to understand is if you insert a permission block anywhere, the permission overrides and flows downstream. So if you had a group of technicians, for example, and you wanted to enable a special ability for them that maybe wasn't a part of their normal permission sets, and it's just that one tech group, all you have to do is go insert the permission block above that group and give them a new override and say, well, in this case, we don't want to allow them to view the company. So it could be a negative permission. So I've taken away the ability for everybody under this permission block to view companies now. So it's better than having this blanket policy that you have to go back in that applies to 50 people, and now you got to create a whole new one and start reassigning permission sets to different people. And that was one of the challenges we had in iPoint was the permission sets were kind of a pain. And so by inserting those permission blocks anywhere, you can just immediately create a cascading permission to anybody below where you insert that. And just remember, it's always based on positions. So if I'm in this position, I can go up here and say, I want to switch to this position, and that has whatever permissions are applied to that position. All right. It's a tongue twister. All right. We just covered all of that stuff. Permission blocks or cascading changes. I'm doing pretty good without looking at my bullet points. Adding a user, we covered that. iPoint sync. Okay. Let's go back to this one and see if I can do this. Configure. Okay. So this is what it's going to look like when you get into your iPoint sync. Oh, sorry. Here. And this is actually it needs to be an administrator and it's an admin from iPoint. So in this case, I'm just going to use our demo account. And you see when I put their username and password in, it automatically picked up the company. If you happen to have multiple companies, multiple iPoint files that you're a member of, this box will give you the drop down and you can choose from those different companies. Okay, so a few things here. Smackdab to iPoint. So you could toggle this on and then it's manual or auto. Right now, we recommend that you use manual. So that just means that you'll have to select which contacts you want to push changes to up into iPoint from Smackdab. Once you've done this and you feel like this is solid, I've tested it, works great, we trust it, come back here and flip on auto. And that just means whenever you make a change in Smackdab, it's automatically going to fire off the sync and push that change into the corresponding record or create that record in iPoint. We're missing those settings under the iPoint to Smackdab. They will probably be enabled at the end of this week or the beginning of next week. We've been testing it. It's about ready to turn it on for you. So once we turn these on, you're going to have the ability. Right now, the iPoint sync to Smackdab is just a one-time. When I hit start migration here, we're just one time going to go. We grab user accounts and then we say go forward. And at that point in time, we suck everything over from iPoint and load it into Smackdab, and then we just stop. So because this has been incremental changes, we wanted to test all of this out. That's where it's at. I can turn on for you. So if you ask me to, I can turn on the auto sync from iPoint from the back end. That just means that as you change stuff in iPoint, it automatically pushes over to Smackdab. If any of you have set up your sync already and you would like that turned on like today, just shoot me a message either in here in Zoom or in the community, either one, and or in the chat. This, always come in here to help and do a new support chat. That's probably the best way to do all this. And say, hey, turn on autosync for me, and we'll enable it for you. Once we publish the changes, then you'll be able to turn that on yourself. And we'll give you both options. We're going to have an auto sync where it just automatically pushes changes from iPoint into Smackdab, and then we're also going to do it in manual mode. So at that point, you'd be able to go into iPoint, open up a contact, click on the menu in the contact, and choose push to Smackdab. That'll be the manual version. So you could have a strictly manual to manual or a full auto to auto or any mix of those two, however it works best for you. So right now it's grabbing our user accounts. And when it's done with that, we will map those. It's about half done here. Let's see if it wraps up soon. And maybe we'll let it run. I'll come back around. So once this gets done, I can show you how to map the user accounts and move on from there. So while that's running, that was the end of my pre-made stuff. I can jump in and start talking about Smackdab and other things, and we'll come back and check in on this in a few minutes. But let's pause for a second here. I got my audio turned back up. I am going to pause my share, and we're going to see if we've got questions. Rob, do you have anything in the chat, or does anybody want to raise your hand or jump in and ask a question before I just keep talking?
A couple things in the chat that are specific things about, you need your iPoint account upgraded, or you're missing the admin options within Smackdab. Any of those specific things that are pertinent just to you and your experience with Smackdab, use that in-app Smackdab chat, and that'll really help us to make sure that we keep track of everything and update your iPoint files and get everything needed.
Yeah, we're trying to get all the iPoint files updated by next week. So we just do about 5 to 10 a night and roll through them. So if you want bumped up, just shoot us a message. Again, the best way is through the Smackdab help support system there, and just say, hey, we need upgraded. And that's only if you're not already on the right version. So the version is 14.05.01. And so as long as you're on that or after, you're fine already. And about 100 and some of you companies are already on the right version. And I tried to go through everybody who attended our launch party last week, and I tried to go through and make sure all of your accounts were already up to date. But if you're new to this week, then and we haven't done yours, please let us know, and we'll push you to the top of the list.
The login when you're importing data from iPoint to Smackdab, that login, is that your Smackdab login or your iPoint login?
It's your iPoint, and I know it says CRM user, so I already sent that over to the dev team to make those helper text say iPoint username and password. But it is your user, and it needs to be an admin account from iPoint.
Can Smackdab push to iPoint?
Yes, it can. We can push changes and push new records.
And when you're doing like the manual push, it's the same way that like iPoint pushes to QuickBooks. You are going individually into a record and saying, yes, I want to push this, or you're selecting a group of records and saying, push all of these selected records over. Can you quickly review the multi-level client sync jobs from iPoint?
Yes. That's a loaded question. So Smackdab supports. Let me reshare my screen for a second then. Okay. So first, let's just go here. This is the iPoint setup. So let's go to view data real quick. So what happens here, since this is all done, this is where we map our users. So this is our dev account from iPoint. So it's got all kinds of junk in it and lots of users. I can just say, hey, I just want to put everybody to this Billy Bob or whoever position and just assign it all, and it just sets all of those. And now what this is for is in Smackdab, we have ownership of every record. iPoint doesn't have any concept like that, but as a CRM, records are owned by someone, or in this case, a position. And so you can just choose one if you want to, or you can go through and map. If you have created your users in Smackdab with positions, you can go through and get them mapped up correctly. What we're looking at is the sales rep. So in iPoint, we have a sales rep field on the CRM, so in the customer record. And if you have that filled out, will find that user as long as they're in Smackdab 2 and using this mapping, and we'll set that as the record owner. That's what this is for. And then we click Start Migration, and this will then take a little while. It's going to roll through. It's going to go get all of my record counts, and it's pulling everything over from iPoint into Smackdab. And this is going to take a little while. So I'm going to leave it here, and we'll go and talk about the companies and the child records. Okay, so in customizations, Smackdab out of the box is not going to have the functionality turned on for the parent-child functionality. So iPoint, because we were built to mimic QuickBooks, and QuickBooks has that customer job 1 through 4 level structure, iPoint had that too. Smackdab originally didn't have that, and we went, oops, we realized we missed that about 2.5 months ago, 3 months ago, and we had to go and backtrack and add in this parent-child functionality into Smackdab so it matched the way iPoint worked. It's not enabled out of the box. So to turn it on, you'll go to Settings, go to Modules, Contact, Settings, Parent Contact, and flip that on, and then do the same thing on the company. So Company Settings, Parent Contact, or Parent Company, and flip it on. When you do that, it's going to just ask you, it's going to say, hey, you need to add the parent contact field to the layout, and it'll take you to the next screen where you just drop it onto the layout wherever you want to see it. So once we have that and we go to contacts, you're going to have this parent contact field here. And I can move this over here. So we're doing some work on this. The field that's actually the best is the hierarchy field. And I will probably get that added into your default views, but it's the record hierarchy. And works like iPoint does, where it can list out everything sequentially from the parent down. And let's go pull it to the front here, actually. There we go. I still didn't get it in the front. There we go. So this one then lets it sort by the parent name and then child. So you can see in this case, I only have this one record that has a child record. So this is the parent. So it starts off at 1, 2, 3. This is the actual record for this contact. And this then, as you can see here, so this matches here. And this is the structure one of the structures that iPoint does. The other one is the group by function. We also can do that. So it's group by parent contact. This I have not tested out yet. They were working on this. So if this is broken, I think it works in the dev file. We haven't pushed it to production yet. Let me test it out over here. Yeah. So group by parent. So what it'll do is it'll nest them. So you'll get this nesting functionality, which is more like what iPoint does, where we show you things in a stacked indentation. What I'm missing that they haven't got me, and the reason I haven't really released this yet, is I don't have an expand all function. So you have to go through in this group by and manually expand them to see the children records. And I wanted them to give me up here just a expand all, collapse all function. I'm waiting on that. Once I get that, we'll push all this out to production as well. So if Eric with Acoustic, if you're on, this is what I'm still waiting on for you, is to get this expand all, collapse all done. I know you've been waiting for this before we get you all set up. So it's almost there. It works. I'm just want to get the expand all because you're not going to want to go through here and expand them all by hand. Now, you can use that one I just showed you, which is the hierarchy version, which does it in a hierarchy with like this, where it just groups parent all the way down. And this works now. So, Eric, if you want to get set up, ping me and we can move forward, or you can keep waiting until I get the finished on the expand all, collapse all on the group by. Okay, so that's parent-child, and it works to 4 levels. It works just like iPoint does, so it's the same levels. Now, if you go in here, and I wanted to open up this contact, and I went here, the iPoint sync is not done, so it's not showing it. It's still churning in here. Yeah, it's still running. Okay. When iPoint's done, let me see if the dev file has it. It doesn't have either. There's a push to iPoint function under here, but I have to have an iPoint file that's actually configured on this. And then right here will say push to iPoint. It also will do it out here. If you choose multiple records out here under bulk actions, it also has push to iPoint. So if you're on manual mode, push to iPoint can be done in bulk from this list view, and it can be done individually from inside of any record under this menu up here.
And a quick thing on that, if you're not seeing that push to iPoint button, try scrolling in the menu. I noticed a couple of our menus aren't auto expanding. I'll be working with our dev team to get that addressed, but within that 3-dot menu, you should be able to scroll to the bottom to get it. I noticed it mostly on the bulk one, I think, Brooks.
Oh, yeah. So it's not getting over here. It's not expanding out enough.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it's not here because this one doesn't have an iPoint config that's all set up. Okay, and then it works in reverse. So if you have parent record already set up an iPoint, when we sync them in, they will come over and set up that parent-child structure will exist over here. Even if you haven't flipped on the parent record that I showed you in settings, we still sync it in that way from iPoint. So as soon as you turn it on, it'll be there. So internally, we are grabbing the records and we are configuring that relationship. We just don't expose it until you go into customizations, contacts, and turn on parent contact and parent company. So I do have something I want feedback on from you all. Smackdab, when we went and modeled it on other CRMs, most of them had this separate contacts and companies functionality, like we've done in Smackdab. iPoint doesn't. iPoint just has basically customers. All right, so we have the CRM functionality, and you get our customer pop-up here. Contacts are basically people that are not customers but most of you have 99.99% of your stuff is all sitting in here in customers. And it's just a combined mix of companies and contacts. Some of you may not do hardly any work with businesses. You're just a direct to consumer, and so you don't really do companies. My question is it confusing that in Smackdab we have these two separate functionalities, one for contacts and one for companies, with them being related, so they're connected. Like if whatever contact works for whatever company, Rob is connected to iPoint and Smackdab, and so am I. But is that confusing? And would you rather we abandon companies and roll everything into a contacts list and maybe convert companies to be the vendors instead? So I guess I'm just looking for sort of feedback. Does it make sense like it is, or would you rather have the option of saying, no, one list of all my contacts, just like iPoint does, and then we'll have a separate list for vendors only? You can throw that into the chat. I don't know how to say. You could say combined or as it is in the chat.
So far, we've got people saying they like companies.
All right, good.
Keep them separated.
Keep them separated. Good. Well, that makes my life easier. We don't have to go and change anything. Okay, it's pretty consistent. Companies separate. All right, companies win. Thank you. I was hoping that would be the answer. Good. This is fun. Questions? What else? Let me go see if this thing is
the
running.
others, if you want to just if you could do, we've got some new people, I think, in this webinar. So just kind of an overview, real quick, high level of are we moving from iPoint to Smackdab? And then like what one of the questions is also not so used to iPoint CRM to proposal to project to service, and that missing the point of using Smackdab CRM with all the other modules.
That was a lot. So let me do answer that in two different sections, right?
Yep.
Are we moving from iPoint to Smackdab? For those of you who are new, yes. Smackdab is the next gen platform. I encourage you to go. I posted in the community. First of all, if you're not on the community, please go join the community. It's community.smackdab.ai. So please go there and join that. Rob's going to put it in the chat for you. I post everything in there. So the video that I just did that actually explains all of the backend architecture that we've been working on for the last 3 years, That's all in that last meeting I did this last week. So I would encourage you to go watch it. Yes, it's kind of boring because I talk a lot about technical stuff, but I wanted to lay the groundwork for why it took 3 years and what we're doing now. So this is a CRM, but this is the architecture under this has been built to be whatever we want it to be. So creating new functionality now is going to be much faster. All of our R&D work has been on creating this system that lets us create stuff on top of it. And so the CRM was the first thing we came to market with because it's okay, let me back up. iPoint, the very first thing I ever built for iPoint was the service module. So going back 15, 16 years when iPoint was being conceived, it was because we used DTools. DTools hadn't have any sort of really good mobile service. And so that was the original architecture of iPoint was actually the work order and project module. Those were the first pieces built in iPoint. Everything else then grew from that foundation. So we went at it from a service software that added in proposals that did some invoicing and then figured out how to add inventory control. Smackdab said, we know what we're going to be. Let's make sure we architect a platform that is designed to do all of that from day one. And we'll start off with the CRM because iPoint doesn't have a good CRM. And I know that a lot of you use a third-party CRM application, whether it's boards on Trello or Zoho CRM or Pipedrive. I've heard throughout the years, we're using this CRM or this project management platform that we have to run on top of iPoint. So the point of Smackdab was first and foremost to provide a foundation to build the V2 platform for iPoint, but also to provide tools today that we couldn't do in iPoint. So that's why it is what it is and why we brought this to market first. Now, the back half of that question got a little more. So why don't you repeat the second half of that question?
Yeah. So used to using iPoint for CRM, proposal, project, service, the whole flow, trying to understand where does Smackdab fit and why is it useful to use Smackdab without having proposals and project management in it.
Got it. Okay, so this is your contact center for your communications, all your sales work. So I have a full email integration in here. So this is literally queues up. Oh, and this is a brand new file. I don't know. Yeah, I didn't set up my email. Let me go to this one. Sorry, give me a second. Reconnect these, which I have to do because this is the dev account, and so the connections timeout. You shouldn't have to do this more than the first time on the production system. Okay, so this is a full email client. So, and it's bi-directional. You don't have to use our email client. Not like you have to. We are still tracking the emails back and forth. So this is just one example, right? So you're communicating with your client over email, you're scheduling meetings, you're meeting virtually and in person. All of that is done through Smackdab. So if a client emails you, I can say, add this to this customer. Or I want to create a brand new customer for this email. So this is working with the CRM so you can track all of your correspondences with your customers. Of course, we also do AI stuff so we can type and rewrite your emails. We can summarize emails. We actually can extract the signatures out of an email. So somebody said, when you send an email, it's got Brooke Swift, CEO Smackdab, 1234 Main Street. Well, when you create a new contact or even if it's just new information, there's a little AI button that pops up and we can pull that out of the email. Just some of the AI stuff that we are doing. Okay, so we have all your email communications. We also can do phone integrations. Right now, it's with Zoom and it's our own built-in phone system that's being built on top of Twilio. We're going to be adding more phone providers as well through this year. So that means that when you're talking to your customers, as long as it's over one of those integrated phone providers, that we can actually record, transcribe, and attach your conversations to the contact record. So we start to get this 360-degree view of your customer. The appointments, if you do virtual appointments, are done through here. So I have a booking system, and some of you might like this. Some of you personally, I don't let anybody book my calendar. Like my time is, you don't get to just book me. We'll talk about it and I'll let you. But there's a lot of you out there, and there's a lot of people just in general who like that ability to say, here's my calendar, book a time with me. And we absolutely have that. It's our booking system here. So you can just send an email link to your customer with, here's some times I'm available. They click it, takes them to your booking page, and they can uh, choose from those. So that would look like, actually, that's probably set up in my demo account here. If I did a email to support at iPoint, demo request, and hey, let's meet up at one of these times. And I would do the bookings, select slots. It brings up this calendar, and I go, I've got this opening, and your events would show in here. So I'm picking a few different time slots, and I'm like, insert those availabilities. So basically, I'm sending this out, and it's one-click booking now for the support to book it. They're gonna get this email. They click on this. It's gonna give them this page here. Not that one because I didn't send it out yet. And this is a demo, the dev account. So these actually probably don't even work. They're not live since it's the dev server. It brings up your booking page for you that they can then say, put their email in, although we already have it. So anything we already have, we don't ask them for. So if we've got everything, it'll just take them right through and confirm their booking appointment. And then we do the reminders for all of this stuff as well. So that's a booking system that's in there. You can just create your own activity. It's a meeting, so you could be on a customer record. So we could be on this 123 holdings, and I get on the phone with them. So I click the phone. I made my phone call. They say, hey, let's get together tomorrow. So I'd say, great, new activity. We're going to meet about the bid, right? And they're already hooked up to this, and I can go ahead and schedule this for tomorrow at 4:30. Save and close. Well, that's going to then send them an invite and says there's a little reward system that we're building out. We're going to let you earn rewards and get swag. That sends out an invite so they can say, yes, I'm confirming I'm available for that appointment. So we've got two different types of booking systems. One that's all manual and one that's automated where they can book you. The calendar is going to be really incredible. It's still a work in progress. We're going to be adding a lot of cool functionality in this thing. This is hand built. We didn't use any off the shelf parts. So we've got full control of this, and we're going to be doing some really fun integrated stuff. You can save views here. So you can basically create a combination of resources and how does it look. I want the grid view, and you want the planner view, and I want to show these, and I want whatever settings, and down here at the bottom it says save as new view, and this is view one. So you create whatever combo of resources, filters, whatever you want, and you save it, and then you can have as many different views as you want, and you just jump between them. So that's just one example of something we're doing that we've never been able to do on any other calendar before.
While you're on the calendar, somebody just asked the question, will there be company-wide visibility of everyone's calendar?
Yeah, you'll have both. So kind of like iPoint does right now. It's just this is all just public right now. So whatever you put on here, other people can see at the moment. We will have it work more like iPoint as we add in the next layer of permissions, which is are my events private for me or public, or I want to share my calendar with these certain people. So those advanced calendar sharing and control functions are not done. They will be coming in the future, near future.
Will integrate with Microsoft 365?
Sure does. 365 and Google. So under your personal community calendar, right now I'm synced up with Google, but you can also hook it up to your 365 calendar. Right now in the calendar, so a couple things if you get in here. Right now we're only hooking up to one calendar, and we're only syncing the default calendar within a calendar. That's all getting fixed. We're going to let you sync multiple calendars, and within, like if I sync my Google calendar, right now it's just grabbing the top one. Even though I might have sub calendars inside of Google, that's going to be added as well, where you can cherry pick which calendars you want synced into Smackdab. So you'll be able to I could do a Google calendar, I could do Google and an Outlook calendar. You'll be able to do as many as you want. So that functionality is on the short list right now.
And if the sales team uses the Smackdab calendar, will that calendar sync back to iPoint?
As long as you're syncing through Google, yeah. So so let's just say you have a Google Calendar, and I have it synced up with Smackdab, and I create an event in Smackdab. We're going to push that event to Google. Although iPoint doesn't sync down from Google, does it? Not
I
anymore.
think no, it doesn't. There were so many bugs with it.
There were so many bugs.
Like
Yeah. So no. But if you put something in iPoint that goes to Google, we'll pull that in. so we can get it the other way. But that's because that's a limitation of the iPoint syncing with Google, and it was a nightmare trying to keep track of events that were created in Google in iPoint. Smackdab, because we use a different type of API layer with Google than iPoint did, it's much easier for us to manage. But even in right now, we're not letting you. So because it is difficult, just for example, if I go to my calendar, we're not actually letting you modify your events at the moment. So if I sync something down from Google, I can't move it right now. So we are going to let you, but right now we're not because it's incremental. We're getting everything done. We test it, make sure it works. Then we add the next layer onto it. So right now we're not letting you move your Google events, even though we are showing them. So within a month, the calendar is being worked on actively. So all this stuff is, we've got 2 devs that do nothing but calendar. So all this stuff is getting worked on every day.
So I think I distracted you too from the crux of the original question is why use Smackdab CRM and what benefit is that. So at the base level, Smackdab is a sales CRM.
Uh-huh.
Its goal is to be able to track your sales, to track your upcoming your sales team, your pipeline, those pieces. The iPoint CRM is the project CRM. That's where you're still going to go to see all of the invoices and proposals and sales orders that are through. So through a sales process, you would start with the Smackdab CRM. Once you're ready to build out a proposal, you then start using iPoint more of the proposal tools and everything that iPoint does.
Yeah, so iPoint doesn't have a Kanban view like this. So this is a pipeline or Kanban, whatever, Trello, however you want to think of it. These are fully customizable with images, colors. So we modeled this off of Trello, which is probably the best board platform out there. Uh, so this is something you can't do in iPoint, where you can track your deals and their values and move them around to the next stages, and we can trigger off alerts. And so there's a lot of functionality in SmackDab, but do you need to use it? No. If you don't want to, you don't have to yet. Now, in the works are 2 more things that are being built along with all the other CRM stuff, and that is help desk and proposals. Those are actively in development right now. So proposals are coming. It'll be late this year before we release it, but it is coming. And if you want to wait till we have proposals before you mess with it, absolutely. It's totally up to you. We have it. It's here as a tool. But we're not telling you have to engage it. It's just available for you if you want to engage it. And then ultimately you're going to want to, because we are going to migrate, and this is going to be the newer, faster, more beautiful system.
I'm finding the next question.
When did you say the Trello style will be available? It's right here. This is Trello style. So boards with cards that can be customized with images and colors, and you can customize the data that shows in here, turn buttons on and off. This is modeled on Trello from a functionality standpoint. Yeah, I mean, Trello can look like whatever you want. Trello's got an incredible amount of customization. We're not going to hit quite the customization that Trello does, but can you import from Trello? Someday. Right now, we were just focusing on iPoint. And so the question was, sorry, I'm reading chats. If you are using Trello, can you import from Trello? Not yet. We do have an API that's getting wrapped up. When we get the API wrapped up, we're then do a Zapier integration. When we do a Zapier integration, then you can do a Trello, Zapier, SmackDab. And then yes, you will.
Can I import HubSpot information to Smackdab?
Not yet, but we are going to be doing our own built-in import engines for the big ones. So HubSpot, Pipedrive, Keep, those we will have, just like I had back here. We have the Keep already done, and we have the iPoint migration system. So these 2, we will be adding more for Pipedrive, HubSpot, to suck in as much data as we can and jumpstart your SmackDab file.
Will we integrate with Ring Central?
Yes, that is definitely one of the hot ones for phone system. Graham, W timeline. I don't know what that means. What timeline for importing? 3 months or so, roughly. Yeah, so in the next 3 months.
Will Smackdab integrate into Xero to push-pull contacts as an alternative to QuickBooks?
Yes, but not. I don't even know if I'll do it this year, but yes, next year for sure we're going to do that. Because this is built to be an international platform as well. So we're not just US, and Zero is very big overseas. So that's definitely on our, as well as NetSuite and possibly even Sage. So we want to support all of the accounting platforms that we can, but it will take some time to do that. But we do have, again, we have a dev dedicated to accounting syncing. So they're doing QuickBooks right now. When they get done with QuickBooks, we'll have them look at the next one.
Can you show the settings for how to set up that Kanban view?
Yeah, so it's under deals right now. You can actually do a Kanban view anywhere. So Kanban is, let's just go to contacts, for example. So in my contact list, I can do a new view, and right here it'll say Kanban. So this is contact KB sample, right? So choose Kanban, hit next. What is the controlling the columns? So these have to be select fields. So in the settings, you can create your custom fields. And if you want to create different custom like stages or something for a contact, you can do that. I'm just going to use contact type for this moment at this moment. So, and then I can summarize on their score. Is the view private or public? Private just means it's only for me. Public means it's for everyone. And then the cards and the images. So we let you have, there's two storage components to Kanbans. That color that you saw, it was orange on top, and then I had a picture of my mother on there. Those can either be global, meaning they're shared amongst all the Kanban views that use the universal image, or it's a view specific, which means I don't want to use the colors and cards from global. I want them to be localized to this. That's what that is talking about. We're not going to do any filters. Okay. And then we do, here's our new Kanban, contact Kanban sample view. So should load up. There it goes. Yeah, so it's 762 contacts here in this one. So once you're in here, then you could click on this, add a color to it, add an image. Who knows what's in here? We'll see.
Probably a bug.
Oh, screenshots of something. It's kind Hey, I earned more points. Maybe I get my swag Yeti cup now. All right. Let's see. There it goes. It was kind of a bigger file. Yeah, there you go. So there's your image now. And then you can take that and drag it over here and change that customer type from lead to customer. And then these are resizable, adjustable. So these views, if you kind of hover in between here, there you go. So you can resize them down. And it's laggy right now, you guys. I've never done a view with 1,000 cards in it before, and it's being laggy. So I'm going to have the team work on this. So this was a new test for a Kanban with this many different cards in here. So it is being slow, but I will have them fix it. They just have to adjust the queries that are happening in the background. So there's their dragging in and out to resize them. That's Kanban.
On the booking system, will we have the options to send automatic follow-up emails beyond just reminders after a job has been completed?
Yeah, there's a full automation engine in here that you can do whatever you want with. So in the automations, you could use a appointment. So that would be when something's booked, it's still booking an activity for you. And so the activity is the trigger. And you could go in there and say when a activity is marked as done, if the status or if the outcome was job complete, then do this. And it could just say like this, send an email. This is an action to send an email. We could edit this email. Hey, thanks. That was a great time that we had installing that theater for you. Look forward to talking to you soon, whatever you want to do. And these can be the full, if you have our email templates, our newsletter system enabled, you can send those from here. So a really rich email experience, or you can just do a plain text email, up to you. So with the automation engine, you can do anything. Take any trigger, make based on any condition, and execute any workflow. pretty much if I can do it by hand, you're supposed to be allowed to do it by automation. That's the prerogative that is set with the automation dev team is anything I can do by hand, I should be able to automate. And so this plays out with iPoint too, that we've always, we had some hard coded like sequences when sales order, product manager was this status, then changed billing. Those were all hard coded. With Smackdab, when we have those scenarios, you can think up and cook up any combination of things you want to do. You'll be able to, you could send text messages to your staff with notifications. You can send emails. You can alert customers. You can do whatever you want to do. We can show parties on the screen. Um, so this is kind of cool. You could go into an automation. Let's create a new one here. And the trigger is, let's see, custom event and contact created. Okay, so that's my trigger. And I want to, nope, no trigger. Go back to production. And I want to do a action and I want to celebrate with fireworks. And you can show this stuff on a user screen. We can do broadcasts. So that's another cool thing. You could go in here and say action. I want to do a broadcast message. And do you want to show it as a pop-up? And do I want to show everybody or just certain people? And it would be like, Brooks just sold the biggest account ever, right? Apply action. Okay, so we're going to turn this on so it's running, and let's go and see if it works. So dashboard, and we're going to go to contacts, new contact, Rob Marks, save and close. So that's just some examples of fun stuff we can do. And you'll be able to show rich, so those, like when you log into iPoint and we send you those rich, like HTML splash screens that tell you alerts and stuff, you're going to be able to do the very same thing in Smackdab too. So you can create your own rich message broadcasts that you want to show the team. And then inline ones show up here at the top. They just, like you see a lot of software, this all scoots down, you get a little inline broadcast message that shows up there. So lots and lots and lots of fun stuff in automations, and we have a lot more planned, including AI agents that'll go out and do research for you. So the AI agents in automations would be like, I have an appointment. So every day before the next day's appointment, I want you to go through, look at who I'm meeting with, and go look up their research on them and see what their most recent acquisition is, or their whatever we can, have an AI agent research. It can go out to the web, research that, and compile a report for you. So when you go to meet with them the next day, it comes up with this report, says, here's what you guys have talked about in the past. You had an email correspondence that said this, and they just had a baby girl. So whatever we can figure out on the internet with an AI agent. So that's some of the fun stuff we're going to have available with the AI agents.
With the automations, does it allow you to send install appointment reminders to the client the day before the install?
It will. So this doesn't have iPoint functionality in here yet. And Rob and I have been talking about this. So we had always wanted to do text messaging in iPoint, but the regulations are a nightmare. And getting it done in iPoint would be a monumental task, especially now with the way text messaging is regulated. So Smackdab, we've done all of that regulation setup to get you approved. And because we can send text messages out of Smackdab, what we're going to do is just do a webhook, and we'll do an integration with iPoint. So if you want to send out something like your work order notifications, or we'll figure out what we can send out, we'll just trigger and tell Smackdab to send out the text message to your client for you. And that way, when they respond, it'll come back into Smackdab. So you'll have your phone number that you text message to and from. So when you get a response, it would show up in here. And that all shows up under I don't have texting set up right now, but here's like the phone system that's available in here to make phone calls. And right down here, there's a bar that says chat, and that's your texting system. And it looks the same way. It just shows up here and you can see all your chatting history. And then also lives inside of the customers. So you go to your customer and see your chat history.
And then the question didn't specifically say text, and I just want to plug iPoint can absolutely do email notifications already. So if you don't have if you're missing sending those notifications via email through iPoint, reach out to our support team and they can absolutely help you get that set up. Does Smackdab have the ability to report deals, sales analytics like Pipedrive?
So we haven't built the analytics like reporting engine. So we have list views that we can do. So you have your deals, and we can make a list of them. And but no, it's not doing. And there's no deals. This is the new account I'd set up earlier. There is no analytics engine yet. We've got a lot of things we were working on. The analytics is not started. Will probably take 3 months to get done. Once we start it, it will be done hopefully by the end of, probably not the end of Q2, we're already in Q2. I mean, it's going to be Q3 before we get it out. So somewhere in Q3, I'll have analytics available for you.
Expected timeline for item importing and then subsequently building proposals.
End of the year. And we won't import items as much as we're going to have a built full, the iPoint library will be built in here. So we will, I guess we'll be able to import your setups from iPoint and get that reconfigured in here. Yes. So because you've already got everything built. So we will pull that over. But we'll also have a much more dynamic built-in product library in Smackdab as well. So we're going to have two versions. I covered this, I think, briefly at the last meeting, but if you missed it, we're going to have two types of proposal systems. They're still the same core proposal, but two different interfaces. One is a lightweight, fast, like kind of like Portal would be. And then the other version is a power user version like iPoint and DTools, where it's a table with lots of fields that you can control and manipulate. We are, and I brought this up last time as well, the feature requests that you guys have been making around proposals, sales orders, invoicing, all that stuff, it is absolutely being heard. We have it. It is heavily influencing our development in Smackdab. So I know like proposal feature requests kind of just went dead in iPoint. They are alive and well and are being addressed in the Smackdab version. So it will take the good things out of iPoint and leave all the bad stuff.
With the texting, does that work with Canadian text regulations as well as American ones?
Good question. I don't know.
We'll
I'll have to
figure
check.
that out.
Yeah.
Will I be able to have a link from my website into Smackdab for customers who submit questions via the website?
Yeah, you create a form. So under the marketing tab, you can go into forms, and then you could do Zapier as well once we get that done. But you could just do a form. So we'd say this is a, like a contact us form, and it would bring up an embeddable form that you can theme this. We can, change the coloring, but at the end of the day, it just looks like this. Of course, you'd put your logos and stuff in there. Well, I didn't map it up to anything, so that didn't really work. The form is, hey, what do you want? What do you want to track? What do you need? You could put that, checklists in here. You can put whatever you want in here, and then embed that into your website.
Plans for this being an app in iOS and Android.
Yeah, I mentioned that last time. If you want to be a beta tester for the app, go to the community. There's already a post in there. I asked you to like it if you want to be a part of the early testers. We are trying to get a new build done by the end of next week that we will then release for beta testing.
For the forms you just did, will they be able to generate a QR code that could link to the form?
So I have that in the backlog. Backlog means it's not like on deck. It's in the queue of things to do, but you can do your own QR code really easy. Just take the URL and go and code it, and you can put your own QR code somewhere for now. But yes, we will do that. It's just not a high priority for us. And literally, I'm not joking, thousands of things that we have in the backlog.
Cover page proposal templates, will those be easier to design and change on the fly?
Yeah, it'll be like our email builder. So let's go to our marketing and our templates in the gallery, I think, if they've got the new one up. These are the old ones, but it's okay. So we'll customize this. And we'd go in here and we want to add a new image in the middle. Change the background color. Upload your images. Add a text block. Where's text? There it is. So it'll work like that. So this is our email builder in here, and we'll use the same system for cover pages and all kinds of stuff for the proposals. You'll have full control of your proposal layouts. And you will be able to embed videos in there, which we can do here too. So we can go in and say, do a video, like embed the video. So you'll be able to do the same thing there.
Perfect. I think that's all the questions.
Cool. Well, it's 3:07, so we're 7 minutes late, but that was overall productive. I will have more structured training next time. I wasn't quite sure how this would go with the Q&A, so I left a lot of space. I will have I'll do more structured training on the next one. So maybe like 35 minutes of me teaching and then 25 minutes of Q&A. So the next one will be Thursday, 2 o'clock again. So the goal is to do Tuesday, Thursdays, 2 o'clock for right now. And we'll adjust that schedule as we need to based on attendance.
Perfect.
All right.
Thanks everyone for attending.
I'll get it up, posted on YouTube as quick as I can. Thanks.